What is going on, friends? Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Outreach Radio Chicago. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and I want to thank you so much for joining us on this episode. I have a very special treat for you all, a little early summer treat for every one of you. Later on this year, one of the biggest events is hitting the cities of Chicago and the Chicagoland area. All In and Starrcast come to the Windy City, and I have one of the great masterminds behind it, and also one of the personalities who's taken over the podcast world and the entertainment world. It is Conrad Thompson. But before we get to Conrad, here is a quick message. What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
To award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support. Unhappy with your current living situation? Want to get out of your parents' house? Do you live in the Chicagoland area? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I have the realtor just for you, Amy Lonsky with Keller Williams. Hey, this is Mike Mercado from Mercado Airwaves and Outreach Radio Chicago. When the special lady and I started looking into buying instead of renting, we only trusted one person, and that's Amy Lonsky. With a passion for real estate, Amy will put you and your family first so you can start your life in your new dream home. Contact Amy for any other inquiries at 630-550-1518. That's 630-550-1518. Or email Amy at amylonsky@kw.com. That's AIMEELONSKI@kw.com. All right, guys, here is our interview with Conrad Thompson. Enjoy. For all those who are listening here in Chicago, they might know you. They might see you in the commercials if they happen to be watching Monday Night Raw as the dude with Brother Love, the guy who gets Eric Bischoff upset, somehow got Tony Schiavone out of retirement. If you don't know who this man is, it's Conrad Thompson, and he is joining us here on Outreach Radio Chicago. You talk about an inspiration to literally do what you love, work hard, grind, and get up and do it. And Conrad, thank you so much for taking some time for us here in the Windy City.
Man, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to being there. You know, Bruce and I are going to be there at House of Blues on June 16th. It's going to be right after NXT, and tickets are still available at brucepritchard.com. We sold it out, but we convinced the House of Blues to squeeze a few more chairs in there. So this is the second chance you've been looking for. And, of course, Starrcast, man, Labor Day weekend, what an event that's going to be, all about All In. And if you want to go all in on meeting more than 50 legends and Hall of Famers, you should come to the Hyatt Regency in Schaumburg, Illinois over Labor Day weekend.
Well, let's get right into that. I mean, we're talking about living the dream in the sense of this vision that you guys are having. I mean, for anybody who watches any movies, like you talk about the MCU from Marvel, you guys are building this universe of, you know, these touring dates, and then this a culmination of Starrcast. How did this baby really come to fruition for you? I know you saw what was going on with the boys, with All In, Bullet Club, Cody, all these hardworking, awesome dudes, and then your brain is going. How did this merger come together?
Well, I know that the big shows are oftentimes piggybacked by big conventions, of course, WrestleCon and WrestleMania, and that was sort of the motivation is, hey, this is going to be a big show. Why don't we try to find a way to turn this into a convention and make it not just a one show weekend? Let's make it a destination. If you're a wrestling fan, don't just come in on Saturday and leave on Sunday. Come in on Thursday and spend the weekend with us, spend Labor Day with us. It's sort of all about wrestling. And I had the idea to do a wrestling podcast convention back in 2016 when it looked like the NWA Legends Fan Fest wasn't going to happen in Charlotte come August of 2017, but the hotel wound up being booked. So fast forward, I'm in an airport in Atlanta and run into Cody and said, hey, what if? He was intrigued by the idea. I sent him an email. He was blown away with sort of the lineup of what I had a vision for. He thought it was an awesome, suggestion. He ran it past the Bucks. Everybody dug it. Here we are, man. Starrcast and All In, and it's going to be quite the happening from the weigh-ins, from the official, press conference and weigh-ins, and maybe some more fun stuff we're going to do for All In, but also the podcast stuff, the roast of Bruce Pritchard, a Monday Night Wars debate, Botchamania with Tony Schiavone. Lots of fun stuff, including an NWO reunion with Sean Waltman as the host, and the Death of WCW panel from the guy who wrote the book, going head-to-head with Eric Bischoff. Should be a great time.
Conrad, let me ask you this. For any of us who do radio shows, podcasts, any type of entertainment or communication with an audience, I don't think anybody really, unless you're behind the scenes, sees how important the organization is and how important it is to make sure you stay on target and you're able, you may have an awesome million ideas, but for every awesome million ideas, you have to cut them back. How important has it been for you and the staff and all the talent and everybody to really, even though everything sounds great, to keep it on target and really get an idea of how to keep it tight and entertaining and feel fresh throughout the whole week, essentially?
It's going to be a challenge, man. It's really going to be a challenge on Friday. Saturday is a little bit lighter, and Sunday's a little lighter. Thursday we're getting things started at 5 o'clock, and we're going to go until probably 11 that night, and that's not too bad. But the anticipation of getting it all set up and me really being a first-time promoter, I'm pretty nervous about it, I'll be honest. But on Friday, things are just going to be nuts. We're going to go from like 9 in the morning all the way until 1 in the morning. And so, you really are going to have a day, 2 days, 2.5 days there worth of work, and you've got to cram it into one technical day. That's going to be quite the task. And Saturdays will be a little easier. We're getting started early, but we're going to shut it down in time to go to the show. So our event will wrap up around 4 or 4:30, and of course the doors are going to open over at All In before the show, but the actual show is going to start around 6:30 Central Standard Time. So I wanted to give everybody plenty of time to get from Schaumburg over to Hoffman Estates, and we might be working on an after party afterwards, but that'll be fun and not nearly as stressful. And then Sunday is really not going to be as big of a stressful day because it is sort of just going to be a hangover feel. I know people are going to be up late and really excited, and it'll just be an adrenaline dump after a big show like All In. So it's going to be a little more low-key, a little more laid back. We'll start with a little breakfast action and do some meet and greets, and we're going to finish the day with Why It Ended with Matt Coon and Robbie E., and we'll have some of our more, less than stellar endings to their wrestling career, sort of share the ups and downs. It should be a fun, low-key day, but we've got at least one, maybe two gigantic surprises coming on Sunday.
A lot of people want to pinpoint what is the reason why All In and Starrcast, where the success is coming from. And, of course, you could put it on your hard work. I mean, that's undoubtedly your hard work, the Bullet Club, all you boys and the gals behind us working so hard. But what I think the secret, the Conrad dust on all this is you guys are in touch with the audience. And not to say that other people aren't, but it just seems like at this moment right now, we always look back in history. We always find out why were people successful at this time. And you guys are the ones that really you're there, you're in tune, you're eye to eye with the fans. And how does that feel to go from where you guys started? I remember my first episode of Something to Wrestle With was the XFL episode because of the ESPN 30 for 30. And from that moment on, I just appreciated not just the content, but you can hear the soul and the hard work that's put behind it. Well, how has that transition been to really realize how much in touch you guys are with the audience?
Well, two things there. One, the success of these shows, all of that credit goes 100% to Cody and the Young Bucks. Yeah. They really had their finger on the pulse of what the audience wanted. They worked tirelessly to give it to them. Their pricing strategies, their promotional efforts. They spent no money marketing this and were able to sell this many tickets. That's really unheard of. It's just through, goodwill and having people sort of on your side and pulling for you. And those guys deserve all the credit for that. And, realistically, all the credit for Starrcast. We pushed out what the schedule of events were, and those guys knew in advance, and they were excited about it. But once we announced that, the stars from All In were going to be there, people just wanted more All In. So the success of Starrcast really did just piggyback everything they had accomplished with All In. I do feel like it's worth mentioning, though, that when you say, how does it feel to be in touch with the audience? I need to make a confession here. I'm not some sort of psychic. I'm a salesperson, and all I've ever done is sell. And so as a result, my way of selling is to ask questions. And you go back and you look at the early episodes of my podcast, and all we're looking for is some sort of buy-in. I mean, the early episodes of the Ric Flair show, we're doing a caller of the week, we're doing tweets of the week, we're doing emails of the week, we've got voicemails from listeners. I'm trying to make it interactive and get people engaged. But then once we actually flipped and started doing the show with Bruce and Tony and now Eric, we do a lot of polls. There's no better way than to, engage the audience than to just ask them. And I got that from sales. Rather than me saying, here's my product or service, now sit still, I'm going to sell you, I would instead say, hey, tell me what you're looking for. If you tell me what you're in the mood to buy, I'm going to sell you that. Wow. And so that's sort of the idea here with Starrcast is, let's figure out what people are into. Oh, well, they're into meet and greets with Cody, and they're into more. And so the same thing with the podcast. You look at some of our show topics this week on Something to Wrestle, we're going to be talking about Bob Holly. Right. Bob Holly won a poll to be there. So when Bob Holly won a poll, guess what? We're doing a Bob Holly episode. And so some people would say, well, let me hear about Bob Holly. Well, go vote. That's the great thing. Like, tell your friends who are like-minded like you who don't want to hear the Bob Holly episode, go vote for Yokozuna or something else. But me allowing the fans to sort of steer the ship lets them feel like they're involved. And I really do feel like this new version of a wrestling fan, this new era of a wrestling fan, just really wants to be involved, whatever that looks like. Cody and the Young Bucks made the fans believe they're not doing a show and hoping you like it. They're trying to build a show that you want to see. And it wasn't a we're doing it, you're not. It was a all of us are doing it. And I even positioned myself on the show as not really the host, but I'm just a fan, and I'm the first listener. And that's not some slick salesmanship. That's me understanding that as a fan, I sort of have an idea of what I would like and what I would be into. Not as a performer, but as a fan. And so because I approach everything as a fan first, when I put together the lineup of events at Starrcast, I thought, hey, what would I pay money to see? And so I asked myself, and then I ran it past a little, I guess you call it a focus group. It's a group of my wrestling friends. And I'd say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about. What do you think? And we would make tweaks and improvements until everybody was like, oh, yeah, man, I would want to see that all day. And so once we knew we had a schedule of events that everybody wanted to see, I had a lot of confidence that it would be successful. I don't think I knew it would sell out in 7 minutes, but I had a lot of confidence that it would be successful.
Unhappy with your current living situation? Want to get out of your parents' house? Do you live in the Chicagoland area? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I have the realtor just for you, Amy Lonsky with Keller Williams. Hey, this is Mike Mercado from Mercado Airwaves and Outreach Radio Chicago. When the special lady and I started looking into buying instead of renting, we only trusted one person, and that's Amy Lonsky. With a passion for real estate, Amy will put you and your family first so you can start your life in your new dream home. Contact Amy for any other inquiries at 630-550-1518. That's 630-550-1518. Or email Amy at amylonsky@kw.com. That's AIMEELONSKI@kw.com. What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the operator to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
Mercado Airwaves is brought to you by supporters at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves.
Does it ever feel like it's happening so fast for you guys? Like, just every day, you guys are in this city, you guys are in this city, you're recording this, you're researching that, and yet you guys still have the energy and the enjoyment. Is it because, low-key, you're just a fan? You're the mortgage guy that just so happens to be doing what he loves doing?
Perhaps, but I'll be honest. Burnout is real. It hasn't hit me yet, but it's going to. Right now I'm doing 3 podcasts and a television show,
right, and
planning a convention and a wedding. And oh, by the way, a mortgage company with like 40 locations. So it's a day and a half that I've got to cram into a day, every day, 7 days a week. And so no matter how you slice it, I'm recording something for a podcast 4 out of my 7 days. I'm also working in my mortgage business 7 out of 7 days. And when you figure all that out, and then in your free time, you're working on this convention, that's probably going to be the second biggest wrestling convention of the year behind WrestleCon. It's a huge undertaking, and it has a lot more moving parts than even a WrestleCon, which is historically a lot of vendor space. This is different. This is 20 stage presentations. And when you really take that into consideration, it's like, it's a full-time job sometimes to plan 1 stage show a month for Bruce's show. Right. Now I've got to do 20 over 4 days. It's going to be quite the task.
So is there a trick to still having enjoyment outside of it? I mean, we all love what we love, and sometimes, like you said, the burnout is real. Do you get a chance to do other stuff? I mean, you're the most famous thing out of Alabama that didn't play for Nick Saban. So, like, do you get to do other stuff? Do you enjoy, Xbox, PlayStation? You get to go watch the movies? Do you and the lady get to,
Oh, sure. Yeah, listen, I make time for that for sure. This time of year, I'm floating around the pool, and we're watching some UFCs, yes, and we're catching up on some Netflix shows, and I'm doing barbecues with the parents, and yeah, I'm still doing all that stuff. I'm probably just doing a lot less of it than you might imagine. I'm doing that, 1 night a week, maybe 2. And that's really pushing it. But the rest of the time, no, I'm working. But now, that's not to say that I'm serving some sort of punishment. It's that old cliche, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I don't view this as a punishment. There's nothing I'm talking to you right now from my mortgage company. There's nowhere I'd rather be than right here, right now. And a lot of people don't get that, but I really enjoy what I do. I really enjoy helping people, and I do view that that's what we're doing. We're helping, renters become homeowners. We're giving families backyards and a yard for a dog, and a place to play catch with Dad, and a kitchen where Mama can host Thanksgiving for everybody, and a chimney for Santa Claus. And that's a cool thing to be a part of. And the idea that I get to do that by day, and then by night, I get to sort of relive some of my favorite wrestling memories with guys that I used to watch on TV, and now they're my real-life friend. That's pretty fun, man. I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm having a good time. When
it comes to Starrcast and the podcast and the show and everything, do you guys ever worry about, like, how do you guys manage the fans? Because we all know that there's some people who have criticisms, constructive criticisms, that we do as content creators. We take to heart, and we understand. We're trying. You've said it perfectly. What's the success of you guys is listening to the audience and giving them their voice. But what about for people who are new to this? How do you block out the garbage, the bile that is social media, and quite frankly, just people who don't have enough confidence in themselves and they attack other people?
It doesn't bother me. I've been on the radio and TV for my mortgage company for more than 10 years, so I'm used to, people who just, aren't always nice and don't always have a kind word for you. I don't take it personally. I realize that some people don't get the show and they don't enjoy the show. Fortunately, we're not forcing anybody to listen. If it's not your cup of tea, you don't have to. But I do sincerely appreciate the feedback. We do try to get better. I do believe if you're just doing what you did last week, eventually you'll go out of business. You've got to get out of a comfort zone. That's where real growth happens. And that's what I'm trying to do, is grow the show. And I look for that feedback, but I don't take it personally. If they want me to do something different, that's what I want to do. I'm a salesperson. I'm here to, to borrow a Vince McMahon and Michael Hayes line. I'm here to put smiles on faces. If you're enjoying my product and then you're running around telling your friends and championing it on social media, you're the best possible advertising for me to have. So why would I want to deliver anything other than an awesome experience? And that's what we're pushing for.
Conrad, before I let you go and we plug everything else, you've been gracious with your time. You're a huge UFC fan. I work with the UFC. We get a bunch of cool interviews with them. And coming up very soon, my friend, the light heavyweight champion and the heavyweight champion, maybe the greatest fight of all time, hopefully at least of this year, unless Khabib and Conor fight at the end of this year. Who do you got, Daniel Cormier or Stipe Miocic?
It's hard for me to pull against Cormier. I've been a big Cormier fan for a long time. Before he sort of blew up and was a major name, I had the good fortune of playing blackjack with him years ago at the MGM Grand. He had a broken hand at the time, and he just could not have been more gracious, and he's a huge wrestling fan. So I'm going to be a bit of a homer, and I'm going to pull for Cormier.
And then I have to get your opinion now. One, was the Conor thing a work? And two, Conor Khabib, if it's in Russia, who do you got?
I don't think it was a work. I mean, okay, let me say this. Sometimes it's a work and not everybody's in on the work. What I mean is sometimes somebody knows they don't really mean this and they're doing it to generate buzz and hype and create, a happening. But they don't necessarily smarten everybody else up. And to use a wrestling term, you quote unquote are working the boys. And that's probably what that Conor thing was. I mean, he is a master at sort of playing the public and the situation and creating hype and anticipation. And he's really just taken a page right out of Floyd Mayweather's book. And they're obviously both influenced in a major way by professional wrestling, whether they admit it publicly or not.
Right.
So yeah, I do think it's going to happen. I think we're not done with Conor. We'll continue to see him fight, and he'll continue to make more money than anybody because he understands it's not high school athletics. This isn't Division I, wrestling. This is promotion. And if you get that, your life gets a little easier and you don't take some of these things so personally. And he clearly gets it.
Chicago House of Blues, Starrcast. The floor is your dream. Take it off.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at hey, it's Conrad. Keep up with everything. On Mondays, you can enjoy probably the new hottest wrestling podcast around. Certainly the biggest on Westwood One. It's 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff. You can catch it at 83weeks.com. On Wednesday, Tony Schiavone is back at you with What Happened When. That's WHWMonday.com. We examine both WCW and Jim Crockett promotions for him. And then, of course, on Friday, it's the main event. It's Friday's noon main event. Every Friday at noon, it's Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. And if you subscribe to the WWE Network, you can catch us on the WWE Network every Wednesday with Something Else to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. But the real thing that we're here to talk about is Chicago, man. House of Blues, June 16th. Bruce and I are going to be there. We might have a special guest, but I know for sure we've got tons of stories we can't tell on the podcast that Chicago has never heard, and we'll be back for Starrcast. So check us out at brucepritchard.com to get your tickets to join us on June 16th. Or if you want to come to the convention, which you should, what are you waiting on? Come to starrcast.com. That's STARRCAST, starrcast.com is where you want to be Labor Day weekend right there in Schaumburg, Illinois.
Conrad, you are amazing, my friend. Chicago, it's a second home for you whenever you want to be here. I know you saw Pequots. Don't forget Illuminati's. We have White Cottage. We have a bunch of good stuff, so we'll take care of you, buddy. Make sure you catch a Cubs game, too, if you find 3 hours in your busy schedule.
That's the thing, man. I would love to do it. I might actually have to stay over a few more days in order to make it happen because I think I'll have a full plate before, but I've never been to a Cubs game, so it seems like something I don't need to miss.
Oh, we'll take care of you one of these days. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for the business. Thank you so much for highlighting, Chicago and bringing so much talent here. And, of course, all the credit and the respect to the boys, the Bullet Club, Young Bucks, Cody, all you guys. Thank you so much for giving us inspiration. And, of course, the mortgage company, you guys have some stuff in the Midwest really fast, right?
Absolutely, man. We can hook you up right there. If you're a renter, go to hidefromrent.com. We'd love to help you there. Maybe it's time to go ahead and move up into a bigger or better house. You can do that, too, at brandnewhouse.com. So if you're a renter, it's hidefromrent.com. But if you're just looking to maybe build or move up, go to brandnewhouse.com. We got you either way.
Conrad Thompson, you're the man. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Thank you to Conrad Thompson. All the best luck to him at the House of Blues, at Starrcast, and at All In. If you want more information, just follow him on Twitter at hey, it's Conrad, and everywhere else, starrcast.com, and use for the hashtag All In, and you can find all the information, all the hotel information. Thank you again to Conrad. Some awesome information. We really heard the passion. We heard the journey for him to become one of the biggest promoters, one of the biggest personalities in the podcast and entertainment world. I hope you all enjoyed this little treat that I had for you on Outreach Radio Chicago. We have some really cool shows coming for you in the next few weeks that are going to help you out throughout the rest of the summer and heading into next year. So stay tuned for that. But that'll do it for us on this episode of Outreach Radio Chicago. You can follow me everywhere in the universe. Follow me on Twitter at mmercado2333. If you would like to see what we're doing outside of Outreach Radio Chicago, go to Facebook and like us at Mercado Airwaves. We're also on YouTube. We post every one of our interviews and shows on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/MikeMercado2333 and give us a subscribe right there. We're also on podcasts, everything that we're doing on Mercado Airwaves. Just go to your favorite podcast stream it and you can find us. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, all that fun stuff. We got you covered. And if you want to see how you can support us over at Mercado Airwaves, visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. But that'll do it for us on this episode of Outreach Radio Chicago. I'm Mike Mercado. What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
It's another day at the office. I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing,
Hey,
buddy?
sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support. Unhappy with your current living situation? Want to get out of your parents' house? Do you live in the Chicagoland area? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I have the realtor just for you, Amy Lonsky with Keller Williams. Hey, this is Mike Mercado from Mercado Airwaves and Outreach Radio Chicago. When the special lady and I started looking into buying instead of renting, we only trusted one person, and that's Amy Lonsky. With a passion for real estate, Amy will put you and your family first so you can start your life in your new dream home. Contact Amy for any other inquiries at 630-550-1518. That's 630-550-1518. Or email Amy at amylonsky@kw.com. That's AIMEELONSKI@kw.com.